let's talk about one of the biggest games that we saw, and let's have a serious conversation about Tom Brady. So Tom Brady and the Buccaneers lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24. Now, here's the thing about Tom Brady. And don't get me wrong, man. Tom Brady is still one of the greatest to ever do it. Tom Brady is still incredible. It's Tom Brady. He's still the GOAT. You know, he's still Tom Brady. And the stuff that happened in the past, we can't. I mean, it happened. So, but we have to have a real serious conversation about Tom Brady and how he has looked horrible in primetime games. Now I know it was for 30 games, so it wasn't exactly prime time, but it was kind of prime time. But against the top teams outside of the Green Bay Packers, they've looked horrible. They looked horrible twice against the Saints, and they looked horrible against the Chiefs. And it's not just they. I understand, and I said this before. The Buccaneers. One reason why they are struggling is because this is still a new team, and with no preseason, no real offseason, they didn't really have time to build a rapport with each other. Tom Brady didn't really have a time to build a rapport and relationship with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Not to mention Chris Godwin did miss a lot of time due to a hand injury. And then you bring on AB, you bring on Leonard Fournette, who hasn't really looked good. Like, there should be no reason why Ronald Jones is starting over Leonard Fournette in a regular year, but Ronald Jones looked a whole lot better than Leonard Fournette. So it's looked bad. And the defense to me has been getting, outside of the Green Bay game, they've been getting torched, bro. Like, and it's just, Tom Brady is not one thing that Tom Brady was excelled at in New England is he was able to bring up mediocreness. Like, he was able to cover up mediocreness with how great he played. He was able to get greatness. Hell, he had us arguing is if Julian Edelman is a first ballot if Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. He had Wes Welker incredible. He had Danny Amendola look good. And his greatness was able to mask the deficiencies that the New England Patriots had on offense. The Tom Brady that we're seeing now is far from that. The Tom Brady that we're seeing now cannot make mistakes because his mistakes are turning. I think he's the second in the league in interceptions. Now, I will say this: it's not all Tom Brady. A lot of this you have to look at Bruce Arians. This is the same offense that had Jameis Winston go 30 for 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. This is the same offense that saw Peyton Manning have his career high in interceptions. That's just Bruce Arians. His offense, it's a lot of deep balls. Now, I will also say this though. When you have the talent like a Mike Evans, like a Chris Godwin, like a Gronk, like AB now, you can afford to go deep a lot of times. It just hasn't matriculated into many points against good teams. And Tom Brady now isn't good enough to be mediocre. And the team still wins. Seeing as though, like I said, with the COVID's messing up the off season and preseason, Tom Brady has to be at his top notch, and he hasn't been. And that's why they've been struggling. That's why the Buccaneers, to me, are not, and I've said this before, they're not a Super Bowl team. And it's not just Tom Brady, but a lot of it does fall on his shoulders because they brought in Tom Brady to be that piece. They didn't bring in Tom Brady for this to be a one. I mean, okay, we're just, we're gonna take this 1 year to get it all right, and then we'll be back next year. No, they brought Tom Brady as a win now mode, and you don't bring in Tom Brady and bring in Gronk. You don't bring in Leonard Fournette. You don't bring in AB if you're not trying to win now. So even with all that, on paper, they are one of the best teams on paper. But like I always say, you don't play the games on paper. This team is not better than Green Bay. This team is not, even though they did destroy Green Bay. That was one game. They're not better than Green Bay. I don't see this team better than Seattle. I don't see this team is most definitely not better than the Saints. And it's a coin toss because we know how iffy the Rams are. I just don't see this team making it to. I do see them, of course, making to the playoffs, and they might win a game, but I don't see them going much further than that. So, and in that to me means, and I don't think it's just to me. I think it's to the organization that is a failed season. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to blame COVID for all the mess ups of this year, but I think it's a lot deeper than that. So. When it comes to the Bucs, I think the Bucs, Tom Brady has been mediocre this entire year, and it's starting to show that the Bucs aren't disciplined enough and they aren't good enough. Even though they're crazy talented on paper, the Bucs are not good enough on paper, or the Bucs are not good enough to overcome a mediocre Tom Brady. That's why a lot of people, including myself, were saying Jameis Winston was better in this type of offense than Tom Brady was. Tom Brady is more of, he's not really an ad-libs type person. And Jameis Winston is, especially for what Bruce Arians wants out of his system. So, yeah, man, Tom Brady just hasn't been good this entire year, man. He really has not, and it's shown, and it's shown, it's really shown. So, and I don't think that they're close to the Chiefs. I really don't think they're close to the Steelers. I don't think they're close to the Saints. I think they're a little closer to the Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers, and that's because the Seahawks defense isn't that good, even though with Carlos Dunlap and Jamal Adams and Shaquille Griffin coming back to the team, they've gotten a lot better. I don't see them beating them, and like I said, it's a real coin toss if they can beat the Rams. So there's that.